Yep, that is the stuff that will break the handles on your shovel. Oh, he's getting out of the excavator. Is that blood on your hand? First day on the first wall of the year, problems.
All right, guys, we're gonna back this up to one of the very first jobs of the season where things go from bad to worse to really bad. And then we get that all fixed and repaired, and then things go pretty smooth, and then they get bad again.
This is first job of the year, kind of.
Second.
We did one in, what, March? And then we had another little blast of winter. We're coming off this wall here 15 feet.
And the stairs.
And then the stairs, and then it will come back out again and just kind of return up.
Are we going up the hill or?
Yeah, up the hill.
First day on the first wall of the year, problems. Stomp around on that.
Problem. We got
Problems.
ourselves
Look
a
at
water
that.
bed here. So, sumping up moisture. Only way to fix it is oversize, if we did. But we're gonna have to go a little thicker rock to bridge this.
Where's one of those stakes? You can't really see how. It's like walking on a waterbed. We thought 8 inches of rock was gonna bridge it, and it did not. All right, here.
You ready?
Yeah, push her in there.
Yep, soil correction time.
No resistance.
That's crazy.
It's always something. It's always something.
So when we encounter soils like this, we have two types of soil corrections that we can really go to that we've used successfully time and time again. One is called a full-fledged soil correction, and that's where we excavate all the way down and remove all of the compromised soils. And then we have to do it in an oversized fashion. So if our wall is right here, for every foot we go down, we have to go out a foot, and we have to create a bridge or a pyramid up to the base of that retaining wall. And then from there, we can then rebuild. We put new good structural fill soil back in, place it, and compact it. That's what we call a full-fledged soil correction. The other option that we've used successfully time and time again is a bridging soil correction. And that's where we'll dig down, and then what we'll do is we'll use rock, but then we stick geogrid inside of that rock. So instead of having 6 inches of rock below the retaining wall, we may have 1 to 3 feet of rock below that retaining wall, and then that layers of rock are fortified with geogrid mixed all the way throughout. We've actually done bridged soil corrections for Habitat for Humanity in some of the worst conditions you can possibly imagine. They wanted to build a row of houses right up next to a swamp, and we're talking about a swamp where if you walked in it, you got stuck. And what we did is the bridging soil correction per engineering requirements, and that wall is still holding today. This was a wall hundreds of feet long and 5 or 6 foot tall, so we know that it works. We're using principles that we've taken from engineers. These aren't things we've created. These are situations we've been in that geotechnical engineers have said, do this, don't do that. And then we just bring that experience with us into these residential job sites. And that's what we're going to be doing today, is a bridging soil correction.
Yeah, so we're going to have good 18 inches. I think we're going to do a foot of riprap here.
You gotta tell them what riprap is.
6 inches of, so 3-inch riprap, and then some, 6 inches of
This.
3/4 the base on. And that should hopefully bridge it up a little better.
We're gonna hand dig it because the other part of this is that bank might collapse if we bring the Mini X down through here to get it where we need to dig this out.
And we only, this section is beefed up.
It's just, yeah, this, what is that, like four feet? Just this little chunk in between the lines.
I think it's been years of this gutter right here, bad drainage, and it just goes right down the side and sits down in here and turns this all to soup.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they got that drain spout right around the corner too. That's shooting right to there and coming down. So
right here. So when this dries up, it's gonna obviously get better. Sure is pretty piss poor right here.
Yep, that is the stuff that will break the handles on your shovel.
Okay, so it's been quite a day here. We dug down, found some really unstable soils, did a little soil correction, and it didn't bridge it up, so we decided to go deeper and wider with our soil corrections. And upon doing that, we found the septic line not too deep under here, so that was right where our wall was going to go. So what's the chances?
I want to know what the chances are of us not hitting that with 3 dudes throwing shovels under there digging it out. We didn't hit it.
Remember how we were saying plan A, B, C?
Yeah.
So we're gonna move everything forward. So we got lucky here. It goes from wood siding to the concrete panels go all the way up, even behind this siding. So we can still put our wall here. So we get to move it forward out of a zone that can cause any damage to anything. Because putting all that, bridging that up, hoping it would not put too much pressure on that pipe would, you know, is not something you really want to cross your fingers on.
Rolling the dice.
Yeah, I don't want to roll the dice on cracking that. So we're gonna move it forward. And that is plan D.
Dude, I think we're on like plan D by now. I swear to God, we gotta be getting close to E.
All right, so let's dive into the mind of Timmy for just a moment here. He does not want to build that retaining wall right over the top of that pipe right there. He doesn't mind moving that retaining wall north just a little bit. And the reason is right in that location, even though a bridge soil correction would probably work just fine, there's the potential for ground movement. In Minnesota, we go through what's called freeze-thaw cycles multiple times a year. And we get a lot of ground movement. Think of California, but in slow motion. Instead of an earthquake hitting all at once, in Minnesota, our ground is constantly freezing, thawing, in a constant state of fluctuation. And there's a lot of water right in that zone. So although we could safely build the retaining wall, Tim doesn't want to build a bridged retaining wall over a pipe which has to remain rigid, because he doesn't want that ground to be moving and grooving underneath that rigid pipe and create a crack. So he's just going to move that bridged soil correction north where there's less water. Less water means less likelihood to have a freeze-thaw cycle. He's still going to bridge it because he's not comfortable with the soils in that zone, but he doesn't want to compromise the integrity of that pipe that we discovered underneath that area.
clean it the rest of the way up. But it's good morning, everybody. Another day, another soil correction. We hit a whole bunch of slop again. The video ain't gonna do it justice. So we were hoping, with this being the higher elevation on our the second tier of our wall here, it was going to be drier because, you know, gravity, but we did not get that lucky. Which is no big deal. We're just going to go down a little bit deeper and bridge it up with a little bit more rock. Getting to about over here.
No, it's got more resistance than over there. That part sucks.
Yeah, it's still better than it was. We're only getting about that much. It was like freaking 18 inches. Oh, I was getting out of the excavator.
All right, Aiden.
You want to give her a little test?
Yeah. Where's that little pad of blood?
Is that blood on your hand or is it paint?
Paint.
Oh.
It's harder, right? Yeah, that probably goes all the way down to the footing, honestly.
It probably goes down under the footing.
That's crappy there. This stuff changes color.
That was where it got good, was right in there.
That's way better, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's just kind of right, the
so
lines there.
The fundamental difference between a complete soil correction and a bridged soil correction is the amount of excavation required to do each one. A complete soil correction means you are removing everything down to non-organic gray clay. At least in our areas, we call it gray clay. And this is a firm, solid material that holds no organic material in it whatsoever. And then you're reusing soils or bringing in structural soil, not necessarily rock, but structural soil to reinforce that area. And that's what requires that 1-to-1 slope. Where a bridged soil correction, on the other hand, does not require complete removal of the material. But you've got to get enough of that material removed so that you are fundamentally creating a bridge. You are creating a zone, a safe zone to allow the material underneath to move and groove, but you've got this huge, thick cushion of rock fortified with layers of grid that are taking all of this subground that's moving and grooving down here, and this material just stays rock solid, steady. That's the fundamental difference between a bridged soil correction and a full-fledged soil correction. All right, well, thanks for going along with us on this ride. It was an interesting journey, and I know some of you guys are probably looking at this thinking, hey, what about them downspouts? Aren't those just going to ruin that retaining wall again? And this was one of the first jobs of the year, and we didn't get a very good shot of what we did with that downspout. But all of those gutters, all of that water, all of those downspouts are directed away from that retaining wall. Sometimes we'll put on extensions, but other times we'll bury a pipe and capture all of that water so that as it comes down the downspout, it's self-contained in that pipe. It's not a perforated pipe, it's a solid pipe that will run down and out and then daylight toward another part of the property. So there's multiple options, but one option that is not on the table is allowing that water to continue to migrate behind that retaining wall. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the process and watching how we handle some unique challenges. God bless you guys, and go get them. We'll catch you on another one. We work around the Minnesota area, so if you happen to be in this neck of the woods and want to have us take a look at one of your retaining walls, just give Tim a call, 612-715-3637.